Hi everyone, this is Melissa with Beck Technology. So glad to have you guys all here today. I've got Mike Bourne here with me, our CTO at Beck Tech. He's going to be giving us a high-level overview of some of the latest features in our newest release, DESTINI Estimator 2019 1.0. We'll also have some time for questions after he goes through that. So without further ado, Mike, I am going to hand it over to you.
Okay, well, again, thank you so much for joining us, guys. My name is Mike Ford. I'm our CTO. Today, super high level, want to talk about our 2019 1.1 version estimator. Definitely the most anticipated release of our product we've had to date. This is a very big jump forward for us so far as our technology and our innovations. This replatforming positions our product to take the next big step in our product roadmap as we progress down the line from doing core estimating into becoming a full pre-construction data lifecycle tool. So what I want to do is, there's a ton of functionality in this version. I do not expect to go through it all. Actually, I don't expect to go through even half of it. We just don't really have the time of the day for this, but we have gone through webinars before. We did do deeper dives. And if anybody on the line is really interested in seeing a deeper dive, we'd be happy to send you out the recording of that deeper dive, or we can schedule times and do one-on-one presentations with you to walk you through feature by feature some of the stuff that's in the latest release of DESTINI Estimator. So with that, we've got about 25 minutes left. What I want to do is I'm going to walk through high-level key features, talk a little about why it's important, and then end with where are we going to go next. So I'd like to start by talking about what it means now that we are on a database backend and what that gives you. Initially, what you can see from my screen is that gives you the ability to be able to access your estimates in a lot, not only better looking, but easier format. So it's no longer trying to find where in the estimate or where on your network your estimates are. You're able to quickly and easily search for estimates. So for example, if I wanted to look for Carroll House, for example, I can just type in Carroll and it instantly finds that estimate for me. If I wanted to find projects that were done this year, I can type in a simple Google search style query, whatever the information I'm looking for, and it very rapidly brings that information back from the database and displays it. You can break this down by basically any type of information that the estimates may have. You also have the ability to group these different estimates based off of certain specific estimate information, like project type, for example. So if I wanted to bring in, let's see now, project status, project name. Yeah. One second. I can bring on project type. And now I can group my estimates based off the type of project. So it's a simple, same drag and drop style that you're used to inside of our applications. Very easy, no real training required. Bring the column out, drag it off, and it's super, super easy to use. Sorting and filtering is also done the same way. So you can very quickly and easily sort, filter, and group your estimates. What I'd like to do now is use this time to also highlight another piece that we have, and I'll allude to it a little bit later, but we have the ability as well for each one of our estimates, we now have the ability to version these estimates. And that's very handy, and you can see here, through a simple drop down, you can pick whichever version of the estimate you want to access at any time. So all of your versions are now no longer a series of different files that are put out on a network that you have to keep track of. It's all in one place, it's all tied to a single estimate, and you can look at the version of that estimate at any time. That includes not only the costs, but also all of the drawings, 2D and 3D models that were associated with that estimate. And maybe what it'll do now is let me jump into one of these estimates. Let's see, maybe we can take a look at, let's get rid of the project type. Let's jump into this guy here. All right, so now I'm inside one of the estimates. I'd like to show another key piece of functionality. This is a stepping away a little bit from the fact that it's database backend. Of course, these drawings are all stored in our database and accessible. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is we always listen to our customers. We take your feedback very seriously, and one of those pieces of feedback pretty consistently is to make sure that we continue to beef up our 2D quantity takeoff. There are a handful of smaller features, but one of the big ones that I'm particularly proud of that I wanted to highlight is our connection between the pallet and the draw and takeoff. If you're one of our longer standing users, you'll know that in our product, if you created a handful of takeoff and then you changed some of the objects in your pallet, those things were out of sync. And initially it was done on purpose because we wanted to give flexibility for being able to have different sets of property information for different pieces of draw and takeoff, even if it was the same pallet object. We've come to learn through your advice that that is not the best way to do it. And so what we've done, I'm just going to jump over to a section of the drawings, is we've now enabled this to be completely in sync. So here I've got a couple of floor finishes, some walls, some door counts, that kind of thing, some basic takeoff. And if I wanted to, say this flooring here, if I wanted to go through and edit it, not only could I add additional user properties, for example, the floor number, what building it's in, that type of thing. I can also do things more simply, like change the fill pattern, change the color, and you can see that updates in real time. And so now our palette is linked with all the draw and takeoff, making it very easy to do things like what if. You can go through and change and add additional properties. The concept in other products around areas where you can classify each one of your draw and takeoffs for a particular floor, particular department, we've always had, but it was a little bit harder to use when you had to go to each and select each individual draw and takeoff on that page. So this, coupled with our takeoff summary, which you may or may not be familiar with, where you can bulk select and edit your takeoff, makes this a lot easier now. All right, stepping back over, one of the things I did want to show while we're here, and we talked about it earlier, was our ability to create versions. And so that's right here on your home page, being able to, inside of your estimate, quickly and easily create a version for all of your estimates it's a game changer, and I'm going to get into why that is in here in a second. But it's one thing I wanted to show that I think is crucial for working with our projects. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to close out of this and jump into one of these estimates that I have versioned before. The other really big thing for those of you that are on that I want to mention is what we get from this database replatforming is not just the ability to be a full pre-construction data lifecycle tool. We also get the ability to do complete team estimating. So you can have an entire team of estimators in one estimate at the same time. And that's not just going through and segregating out your costs into the bid sections and saying, hey, I'm going to take this scope versus that scope and adding the cost. That is also handling your 2D quantification, your 3D quantification. Every aspect of this estimate can be done in real time by a team. And so we also added a handful of smaller features, like the ability to see exactly which estimator created and introduced any one piece of takeoff. So here I can see that Stuart has introduced all of this takeoff for this project. Not only can I filter by that information, but I can also group and sort by that as well, which will make going through and doing your estimate reviews, QA, QC, a heck of a lot easier. All right. Super high level, and there's a lot of small functionality in and around being able to control layouts, being able to control the amount of data that you introduce. For example, in our project tab, we have the ability to specify lists of selection of choices that you can have, like building type, for example, that you can enforce. So you can say, in our company, we only want the estimators to be able to enter these 5 or 6 different building types. And this will prompt them when they create a new estimate to make sure they pick from that list and only that list. You'll also be able to specify through a new field the ability to say, I want my estimators to be prompted to fill in this information when they create a new estimate. There's a handful of features like this that we've added, and we've added it to give you the ability to enforce data consistency. One of the things that we found, especially as we move into being able to provide a full pre-construction data lifecycle, is that you need to have some level of consistency with your data in order to be able to do things like compare projects and present projects, query them across estimates, that type of thing. And with that, I'd like to take a second and back out of this and show you kind of the big idea. What you're seeing here is just a handful of small sample estimates. But the thing that makes our product different from any other product is that we do not require the estimators to do anything special from the day-to-day jobs in order to be able to build a proper cost history database. Here you've got teams of estimators across the country working on different estimates at various different phases of those estimates, doing what they normally do, and the database is collecting all of that data. What we do, and the technology that we've created, is we curate that data for you. We put it into a series of views that is tailor-made to work with dashboarding tools like Microsoft's Power BI or Tableau or Domo, and enable you to be able to do things like present your data in a cost history format, absolutely free of charge and completely out of the box. So what I'd like to do is jump over to a Power BI dashboard that is connected to this exact database that I've been demoing today. You can see this is just on the web. It is connected. These are the exact same projects you saw before, and these could be live fed directly to this dashboard. What you're seeing today is actually a dashboard that we provide for you for free. So it does come with our product. If you haven't received it already, it will definitely come as we give you upgrades. So reach out to the team, or we'll be reaching out to you to provide this. High level, this dashboard enables you to look at a high-level piece of project overview of your project. So whatever projects you selected, you can look at the total cost. You can break it down by key factors on those estimates. You can do things like break it down geographically and see where those jobs are at. This is just a nice way to present at a high level to your clients what your projects are, what you've got going on, show them basic comparisons against projects that they may be thinking about building, and it really helps drive trust in those estimates. Now, one of the things that we do also have, like other tools, is we have the ability to escalate each of these jobs, to provide regional escalations, time-based escalations, and that would all be done here in our escalation section. I'm not going to go into each and every piece, but I did want to spend a little time and talk about kind of high level how we intend this dashboard to be used. Now, on top of just having a high level overview of the projects that you're looking at, you also have the ability to compare them side by side. And you can compare them on any type of data. So any of our properties, you're welcome to come in, select that property, and see a completely different breakdown of those projects. So here I'm flicking back and forth between uniform at level 1 and CSI level 1. You also have the ability to control which project variables you're looking at. So it doesn't have to be just direct cost. It could be any specific contents. It could be things like the number of keys. It could be number of beds. Any high-level control quantities that you wanted to compare across projects, you'll be able to do that. We also have a little bit deeper dive breakdown looking at the different averages and average cost per units. Hovering over any one of these will give you the ability to see high-level project information so that when you're discussing these with your owners, you have a nice way of being able to reference back, hey, this is that project, this is our Browserist Boulevard project. And you can see here at the bottom, we've got some averages on our quantities. Of course, this is all customizable based on the properties you're selecting. So if I wanted to change and look at floor-to-floor heights or direct cost, I could do that. If I wanted to see all the project properties, I could do that as well and see them in comparison with each other. Don't know how valuable that might be, but one of the things that is really nice is being able to say, let's look at the different floor-to-skin ratios of these projects and see how they compare, and what is that average cost per key, for example, between each one of these projects. last piece I wanted to show you is the comparison dashboard. Again, this is just a different way of looking at the data, but it does give you the ability to take and dive into a little bit of where the total cost and the average cost is for each of these properties, in this case, broken down by number of floors. So what is the average cost and total cost per floor for each one of these projects? This also, if I'm just using this internally, gives me the ability to provide a much better apples to apples comparison of projects prior to going into my clients. And that's really where that estimate escalation section comes in, is that you can start to bring some of these projects in line with the other projects so that it tells the story you need it to tell when you're going in front of a client to talk about their project. At the highest level, this is what our 2019 1.1 set of functionality entails. There's probably 150 different features that are all rolled into this, all supporting this basic idea of being able to have a database backend, being able to quickly access, group, sort, and filter your estimates to find the ones you're looking for, being able to work as a team in one single estimate, being able to, we have a lot of functionality around importing and exporting estimates to and from if you're going from a non-database version of this product to a database version of this product, or if you need to share your estimate with somebody who's not on your network and you need to send it to somebody outside, you can do that as well. So there's a handful of features like that, but the ones that I really wanted to talk about were the ones that were the big game changers in this release, and that was being able to operate as a team, being able to do 2D and 3D quantity takeoff as a team, do your estimate as a team, track all of that data in real time without having to do anything else from your estimating team, and then not only capture it, but present it in a really good looking fashion, something that you can take to your owners. The other thing I wanted to mention is this dashboard is fully customizable, and it's just one of many dashboards that either we or you can create, and we can create them at any time, so you don't have to wait for the next version of the product to come out. This is something that if you have different ideas on different data you want to use or present, you can make those changes on the fly. We made sure to serve up just the right amount of data and just the right data that you would need to be able to answer these questions and work with your owners to present your historical costing. So all of that is not presented here by any stretch, but it is all accessible. One that you can do, you could even use this one for if you'd like, is to actually look at the performance of an estimate across its various versions. So that is another piece of functionality that you do have the ability to do using dashboarding tools like this. And I find that it's quite valuable for internal use. But that's pretty much it, Melissa. Do we have any questions coming in? Awesome question. So yeah, the question is we on-prem or are we cloud-based? The answer is both. It really depends on how you'd like to set it up. You can have these local to your actual machine. You can have them local on your network, or you can put it on an Amazon or Azure or any other cloud-based platform that you like. The only requirement really is that it's a SQL database, and SQL has to be able to run on that environment. But for every major cloud platform out there today, it works just fine. Another good question. That is coming. That is not in the version that I've demoed today, but there will be a release before the end of this year. We expect it probably early December. That will have a full integration with Procore. It's actually probably going to have one of the deepest integrations with Procore that any estimating product has had to date. And so I can talk at a high level to this, and we actually, because it is already complete, we can demo it as well. But it is a full integration with Procore's documents and drawings piece, so you can use Procore as a single source of truth, as well as an integration with the downstream Procore financials, so that you can export and take your costs from Estimator to set the base estimate for the downstream field operations. And then even better, and stay tuned for this will not be in the next release, but it'll be something that we have been working with Procore on. We will be round tripping that information back into Estimator so that you can see the exact buyout cost for any one of your job and save it as a final buyout version of the estimate that you can then chart on tools like Power BI.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. Regarding the integrations with Procore, we have a couple other questions here. We've got one from Kristen. On the estimate summary dashboard, can we see the cost per square foot for each WBS or CSI section?
Yes, you can. Yep, that is all doable. That is all absolutely doable for sure. So the total gross square foot is definitely a key quantity, but it could be that or any other control quantity as well. As a matter of fact, that is broken down in the summary details here. So you can see that as the direct cost per square foot and total cost per square foot right here at the bottom. And here's our averages.
Great, okay. And then now this may have been covered earlier, but I want to make sure that we touch on it. From Andrew Gaylor, is it possible to view all estimates to select one without having to search the name, i.e. a list of all projects?
The best way we have it today is to be able to search by year. That's kind of the easiest way, or if you have some high level things like the type of building. But we have received that particular request from a handful of different clients, and we do intend on making some changes on that front sheet already to make it to where you can browse the estimates without having to search. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Sounds good, Mike. Well, there's going to be a lot to look forward to in the upcoming versions of DESTINI Estimator, and we're all really excited about that. Thank you again, Mike, for being here to walk us through this. For those of you on the line, please don't forget to go to our website and register for our next webinar, which will be December the 4th at 10 a.m. CST. We'll be talking with Brent Pilgrim from the Beck Group in regards to his estimating with BIM task force. So you definitely don't want to miss that. Thank you again all for being here, and everyone who is registered will also be receiving a recording of this webinar.